This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. Now, I mean, it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, and me loving my woman's self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of a patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Like, if we'd all been brought up in a culture where we'd been taught that fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs, but I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it, and from that moment on wished I hadn't. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend that I had something else between my legs. I imagined furniture, cozy futons with soft cotton comforters, little velvet settees, leopard rugs, or pretty things like silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of actually having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I imagined him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. That's when I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I had ever met. He was tall and thin and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. He didn't like spicy foods or listen to Prince. He wasn't interested in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent his time in the shade. He didn't share his inner feelings. He had no problems or issues. He wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny or articulate or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies, and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. That's when the miracle occurred. Turned out, Bob loved vaginas. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. When we first had sex, he told me that he had to see me. Well, I'm right here, I said. No, you, he said. I have to see you. Well, turn on the light, I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light, and then he said, okay, I'm ready to see you. Right here, I waved, I'm right here. Then he started to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I said, well, I need to see you. He said, no need. I said, just do it. No, he said, I have to see you. You've seen a red leather couch before, I said. He wouldn't stop. He continued. He looked and looked until eventually I said, this is awfully intimate. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I have to look. When you stop speaking, it's like stopping eating. The first day, there's something thrilling and new before the pain begins. The pain where you want to give up, where you can think of nothing else. And then the second day, you feel wretched. The third, delirious. And then suddenly, there's no appetite. It shrinks. It shrinks until the prospect of speaking, the thought of words retching from the mouth. How ugly and gross it seems. Nothing changes. How to stop people in their tracks and make them think. Only if you're starving, if it's your child lying in your arms, or there's no milk in your breast and the baby's crying, or Or you think he might be in that pile of mutilated, discarded bodies, or the radiation is leaking into your child's lungs, or the leads, or the nitrates, or the. And all the while, skirts get longer, skirts get shorter, skirts get longer, skirts get shorter. Poetry is written. The news is read. I buy a different butter at the store and have my hair permed, straightened, coloured, cut, lengthened. And all the while my hair keeps growing. I throw away all my skirts. A black bag to Oxfam. Lately I've been buying back my skirts. I've stripped the pine. I've painted the pine. I've pulled out the fireplaces. I've put them back in. I'm on the pill. I'm off the pill. I'm on the pill. I'm off the pill. I'm listening to jazz, swing, jazz, swing. I'm telling my women's group everything. I'm protesting. I'm protesting. I've covered my walls with postcards, with posters, with postcards, with posters. Know this, out them, in these, yes those. Know this, out them, in these, yes those. The rows with my friends, my lovers, what were they about? What did they change? Well, the facts are, nothing's been changed, nothing's been done. There's neither rhyme nor reason, just tears, people's pain, people's rage, their aggression, and silence. Listen. How rich it is, how pregnant, how full. What do you remember when all's said and done? A kiss? The taste of someone's lips? Of you? A breath? A tune? Silence. Last year it was cigarettes. The year before, chocolate. But this is the best. Oh, my good lord. Why are you thus, alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me. Sweet lord, what is't that takes from thee thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy? In thy faint slumbers, I by thee have watched, and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed, cry courage to the field. And thou hast talked of sallies and retires, of trenches, tents, palisadoes, frontiers, parapets, of basilisks, of cannon, culverin, of prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers slain, and all the currents of a heady fight. Thy spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestirred thee in thy sleep, that beads of sweat hath stood upon thy brow, like bubbles in a late disturbed stream. And in thy face strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath on some great sudden hest. What portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he love me not.